Hi, my friend. Are you thinking about becoming an author? If so, this video is for you. I'm going to talk to you about the top 10 myths I see from people on their way to becoming authors that I want you to completely avoid. My name is Kelly Notaris. I'm the founder of KN Literary Arts. We are a one-stop shop, getting you from wherever you are today to having a book in your hand and in the world. You can visit us at knliterary.com. I've also been a book editor for 21 years. I've worked at some of the biggest publishing companies in the US, HarperCollins, Penguin, Hyperion, Sounds True, and now I bring all of that information to you right here on this YouTube channel. So please click subscribe and hit the little bell so you never miss a video. All right, let's talk about the top 10 myths I hear about becoming an author. First, I want to say I can't go into the detail on all of these, or this video would be like an hour long. So I wanted you to know that you can find a lot of information about all of these myths in my book, The Book You Were Born to Write, which is now in paperback. And this book really does walk you through every step of my experience of what it takes to become an author. So I hope you'll check it out. You can also find a lot on this YouTube channel, so keep looking. Myth number 1, I should already know how to write a book. Why? I mean, people think all the time, I read a lot of books, or I read a lot of books in high school and college, so I should be able to write one. And I often think, you have walked into a lot of houses. Does that mean you know how to build one? No, right? But a contractor does, because they've spent their whole lives building houses. I, as an editor, and all of my editorial colleagues, we have spent our entire careers learning how to put a book together. So please rely on us. There's no reason why you should know. And it's much better to get information at the beginning of your journey than at the end, because if we get a manuscript from someone who really doesn't know how to write a book, then it's a complete overhaul. It's a lot more time and effort on your part. So we'll actually get a little more to that in one of the myths that follows. Okay. Number 2, I need to write an entire book before I can submit it to publishers. Well, if you're writing fiction or children's, that is true. But if you're writing nonfiction, that's completely not true. In fact, publishers and agents would rather see a book proposal, which is like a business plan for your book, because then if they have changes they want you to make, it's easier to do than having you have to overhaul the whole book. So check out our video. We'll link it below to the 5 parts of a book proposal so you can understand what we're talking about. Number 3, I don't need a deadline. I will tell you that this is one of the most important myths I have heard, because it stops so many would-be authors from actually getting a book done. To get a book done, you have to treat it like a really important project in your life, and really important projects have deadlines. You need to deprioritize things that you have that are taking your time that you would be otherwise writing, and you need to reprioritize writing. Having that meaningful deadline, whether it's kept for you by a book coach or a contest that you're submitting to, or just a friend who's really going to hold your feet to the fire, is one of the most important steps toward actually finishing your book. So it's really, really important, and I hope you'll get yourself a really meaningful deadline. Number 4, I have to write it myself. That is totally not true. 30 to 40% of the books on your bookshelf were not actually written by the person whose name is on the cover. That person, it's their ideas, it's their voice, but it's a writer who writes books for a living who actually has put pen to page. They know how to put a book together, and they can do it for you. So if you don't have time, or you know you're not a great writer, don't stress about it. Don't kill your book idea trying to get it done when it's not really for you. Consider budgeting to hire a writer to write it for you. It's called collaborative writing or ghostwriting, and it is completely normal and not at all shady or weird inside the publishing business. It happens every single day. Number 5, if I'm writing a book, I should be writing 8 hours a day. Not true. Nobody can write 8 hours. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Someone like Stephen King maybe can, but I certainly can't. When I was writing my book, I only wrote for an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. I had to do it inside of a full-time job and a full-time life, right? So I had to deprioritize certain things and make that hour to 2 hours a day to write most days a week. And that's what I would suggest you do as well. If you can give yourself some morning time most days a week, you would be surprised how fast the book will get written. And you don't need to go, off into the woods and rent a cabin for a week and think you're going to crank out your book. Most people can't actually work under that kind of pressure. It's a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit is how a book gets written. Number 6, I have to write a full draft before I can start working with an editor. Nope. You can go back to the deadline conversation I had, or the myth about you should know how to write this book already. Editors want to work with you as soon as possible. We are your guides. We do this for a living. It's like hiring a trainer to help you in the gym, or hiring a coach to help you reach a goal. We can help you because we know how to get there. We've written books ourselves. We have edited dozens or hundreds of books in our careers. Work with an editor to even figure out if your idea idea is right, to help reposition it so it might actually have a bigger readership, to build out an outline so that you can just write a little bit each day from your outline and it doesn't feel so overwhelming, to keep you accountable. Book coaches all the time are checking in with you. Hey, did you write those pages you said you were going to write, etc. It's having a partner on your journey with you. And then, of course, once you get the book written, we can edit it in numerous different ways. But it is really a great idea to start as soon as possible. We'd love to hear from you. Number 7, I need to keep my ideas a secret or someone will steal them. The fact is that plagiarism happens way less frequently than you would think. And even if somebody does get an idea based on your idea, they're not you. They're writing a completely different book because your book is going to be in your voice with your stories, with your experience. So don't worry about this. The truth is there's nothing new under the sun, especially if you're writing what I call transformational nonfiction, which most of my clients are. These are books to help people learn, grow, be happier, heal, etc. We're all writing the same book, just through our own lens, with our own different methodology or our own story. So don't worry about this. And also, you're going to need to be sharing your ideas because of the next myth. Myth number 8, my publisher is going to sell my book for me. Unfortunately, that is just not true. In this day and age, most publishers won't even pick you up if you don't already have an active and engaged audience that's working with your ideas, who you've presented them and taught them to, who are giving you feedback and stories about how your ideas and story is working for them, etc. So you do need to actually start spreading the word about your ideas, whether it's on social media or via a YouTube channel or a podcast, whether you're putting out a newsletter, you're creating content around the same topics as your book. And once you create that content in your blog, you can actually use it in your book. People will love to buy your book and have it in a hard copy, even if they've already read your ideas on your blog. So please be sharing your ideas because you are the one who's selling the book, and it starts with creating a platform prior to the book coming out. Number 9, if I have a successful book, I can quit my day job. Well, maybe. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who actually do put a book into the world and it suddenly hits the New York Times list right away. It's extremely rare. I don't even know anyone who's done that, and I've been in the book business for 21 years. Most people who have successful books, like books that are selling a lot of copies and enough copies that they would support their lives, they've been working on it for a long time. They've been sharing their ideas. This is not their first book. It's 10 years in the making to get to a place where you have a book that's such a huge success that you can retire on it. So just know I think of it as a staircase. And if you're just starting out, you're at the bottom stair. That's fine. The New York Times list and making a full-time living from your books is at the top of the stairs. No problem. If you have the drive to do it, you just keep moving up that staircase. But just know, most people can't levitate from here to there. There's a lot of hard work and time that comes between the two. And finally, I'm not a real writer unless fill in the blank. The answers that most of the authors I work with would fill in the blank, they're all myths. I'm not a real writer unless I get picked up by a traditional house. Not true. I'm not a real writer unless I've written 10 books. Not true. I'm not a real writer unless I've written 1 book. Not true. There are plenty of people out there that are hardcore journalers who never will publish a book, but they are writers. So I just want you to know there's a lot of different ways to define success when it comes to writing and writing books. But the only true answer that I can say to the I'm not a real writer unless I am blank is I'm not a real writer unless I am writing, okay? Being a writer simply means you're writing. So I want you to be writing every day. I've got a lot of wonderful offerings on this YouTube channel and also on my blog at knliterary.com that will help you get started writing. Whatever it takes, whether it's journaling or writing prompts or doing writing exercises, I want you writing because something has brought you here and had you listen to these 10 myths. That means that life is telling you there's a book in you, and I want to help encourage it to come out in whatever form it needs to be. So please visit us at knliterary.com, and in the meantime, happy writing.